Up next, a brand new report uncovers more unlawful action by the Obama administration. The president putting illegal immigrants, foreign workers ahead of American workers. I wonder how that worked. We're going to find out. Here next, we talk with the author of that breaking report. A shocking new report, authored by my guest next, reveals the Obama administration's shadow immigration system outside all the lawful boundaries, issuing millions of work permits to new, ineligible immigrants, including 982,000 permits for illegal immigrants. Joining us tonight is Jessica Vaughn. She's the Director of Policy Studies at the Center for Immigration Studies. Jessica, good to have you here. A shadow system working, I mean, the lawful system is so corrupt and ineffective and poorly led that it is a problem unto itself. But to have a shadow system, what do you mean by shadow system in this instance?
Well, the Constitution gives Congress the authority to make our immigration laws, and they set limits on the number of legal immigrants and the number of guest workers who can be admitted in all these different categories. But the executive branch discovered that it has the ability to issue work permits to people even outside those limits set by Congress. And this has been the vehicle for the president's move to offer people the opportunity to stay here outside these limits. And we find out that it's an enormous number of people who are taking advantage of this. They've issued about 5.5 million work permits since 2009. Now, some of these people are on track to get a green card, but the vast majority of them either entered illegally or on tourist visas or through the visa waiver program, and really
they're unlawfully
right.
here.
It's not like there's a labor shortage or anything that they're
yeah.
being used to fill.
Yeah, it's interesting that millions of American citizens are out of work, while we look at the statistics and the numbers that you put together, and they sort of mirror one another. The number of Americans who are losing jobs and the number of outside workers, illegal workers who are getting jobs. You highlight three, and if we could, I'd like to show this, three categories of those who received work authorization. I don't know that they were given unlawfully permits, not authorization. The 982,000 work permits, almost a million to given to illegal immigrants, 957,000 of whom crossed the border illegally, 1.7 million issued to foreigners whose status was unknown, not recorded, not disclosed by Citizenship and Immigration Services, which is, I don't even understand how that could be, and another 1.8 million new work permits given to those on temporary visas or on visa waivers, 67 a visa status for which employment is not authorized by law. How could this go on without escaping the notice of Congress, without there being a reaction of some kind within officialdom in Washington, or is it so bloody corrupt that it just no longer matters?
Well, the government hasn't been asked to provide this information before, so everybody knew that there were some being issued, and in a few of these categories, the smaller ones, there might be a good reason for the government to do this. But what is amazing...
Name one why you would not have a honest, transparent record of who you were allowing into this country or allowing to overstay visas, or why you would be flouting federal law and the Constitution.
Well, there's no reason to issue them to people who are here illegally or to people whose status is unknown. You might want to issue one to somebody who's engaged to a U.S. citizen and has received their fiancé visa and, wants to work until their marriage happens.
That's all within the purview of law. That's
right.
Already authorized.
Right.
In every instance here, you're talking about over 5 million that are not within the purview of lawful.
Right. Certainly not we know that almost 1 million of them were here illegally. There's this huge category of people that we assume came in illegally, but the government won't report that, plus all the tourist visas.
So let me ask you this very quickly, because we're out of time, Jessica. So what has the Congress been outraged? The Republican committees, have they reached out to you immediately, insisted something must be done? Has the Obama administration been ringing your phone incessantly demanding more information and saying they will act and do what is right?
Well, members of Congress have been, because tomorrow afternoon they're voting on this DHS appropriations bill, which is their only chance to stop the president from issuing another 5 million work permits to people here illegally. So they're the ones who should be paying attention. It's
kind of them to at least consider the possibility of doing things lawfully. Jessica, important research.
There's no incentive. If you can get a work permit, why bother coming legally?
Yep, exactly. Or why bother if you're 7 million people backed up in the system seeking lawful entry and status? Sort of tells you where you stand if you're one of those folks, unfortunately. Jessica, thanks so much for being with us. Come back. We'll take it up in the days and weeks ahead. Jessica Vaughn of the Immigration Studies Institute.